To that crowd. Good
Stop.
afternoon.
No, you stop.
No, you stop. It's time for Three Guys Who Love Sports. It is time for Three Guys Who Love Sports. My name is Chuck Birch, and here with my co-host Robert Kennedy. Robert, how are you?
I'm living the dream. Yourself?
I'm doing fine, thanks. And as every Wednesday here at Miller's Ale House, we're here to talk some sports. We are here to support guys that are going through mental issues or physical issues, and if we can help take their mind off what they're going through for an hour a week, and you help somebody and they help somebody, we all do a little. Nobody has to do a lot. So very happy to be here. As always, looks like the potential of some stormy weather out there, but plenty of time to come out and join us here on Three Guys Who Love Sports. As we mentioned, we're always here at Miller's Ale House every Wednesday, 5 o'clock. And, man, I cannot wait. I'm really hungry. I had a half plate of fries as an appetizer today, but cannot wait for my Mimi's Fiesta Bowl tonight. Larry, you and Robert both got cheeseburger?
That's correct.
And, I just want to say something. It almost sounds like when you say it, you guys both got a cheeseburger, like we've just,
You're not eating the same burger.
We're not eating. No, we're not sharing. Okay, I didn't think that was inferred, but we're definitely not sharing. But we've ate just about everything on the menu. And that burger is really freaking good. It's not like we've lowered ourselves to a burger standard. It's just a really good burger.
I don't like Mimi's. I've only had it for like 3 months in a row now, every Wednesday.
I'm going to try to ask them to add a different ingredient to your Mimi's to see if you like. What happened to my Mimi's?
If it's something I didn't like, I would be very disappointed.
I know you would.
All right.
Well, no, it would be a one-time thing, just
right.
to make you really like it next time.
Cool. All right, before we introduce our guest, we're going to get into an Alvin Jamison commercial.
Hey, Alvin Jamison here, the mortgage guy. Are you looking to get pre-approved for a home loan? Or maybe you want to build a house from the ground up? Are you curious, or better yet, is your significant other on your back about making renovations in your current home? Call me. I have options for you. All self-employed individuals. Are you torn between writing off all your income or having to show your income to qualify for a house? I have a third alternative for you. Whether you're a W-2 employee, self-employed individual looking to do a purchase or pull money out of your current house, or better yet, we can't forget the investors out there. If you have that high interest rate, hard money loan and looking to refinance out of it, again, give me a call. I have options. Below are the states that I'm personally licensed in. Call me, 404-587-9033. Again, 404-587-9033. Visit the website, alvinjamison.com.
That was 1.7.
That was a long one on the one. Welcome back. Thank you, Alvin Jamison, for being the sponsor of Three Guys Who Love Sports. We have with us today our special guest, Tyler Sasan.
Hey, guys.
Did I get it right?
Thanks for having me. You got it.
Beautiful. So Tyler is a big sports fan. We met a couple of weeks ago at Big Shanty Festival's kickoff party and ran into him a couple of times since then. And he wanted to come on and talk some sports with us. So let's do it.
I was just thinking about, though, with Larry and his crazy countdown that, unfortunately, unless you come to Miller's Ale House, you'll never see. Kind of reminds me of when you were like 12 in the driveway shooting basketball, and you're like, Kenny with the shot, 3, 2, and then you'd brick one, and then you'd go 2, 1. Enough time to give yourself that extra one.
Get that rebound and get a shot out.
Absolutely.
There you go. All right.
Longest 6 seconds ever.
Yeah. So we're going to start with a little baseball. Obviously, the Braves are out of first for the first time this year. They've fallen to 3 games back, which I think now is 2.5 because the Phillies lost this afternoon. But they had won 6 or 7 in a row, and pretty hot baseball the Phillies are playing.
Harper's on a heater.
Yeah, he hit like 3 home runs.
3 in a row, 3 days in a row.
In 3 games. I don't think he did today. I saw he fly out deep to the track one time, but I don't think he homered.
I saw a really interesting stat the other day on Harper, and Harper, as much as a lot of people hate him, I don't think a lot of people would argue that he has put forth a Hall of Fame style career, even if his career was to stop after another 2 years. And the stats were Dale Murphy's versus Harper's, and it's crazy. Dale Murphy has him in almost every stat by a decent shot. So,
which means Murph should be in the Hall of Fame.
absolutely, that was my one Dale Murphy plug for the day.
Murphy was second best player on the Braves team at that time.
No, Bob Horner was not
Bob
the best
Horner
player.
was the man.
Bob Horner still has that many MVPs.
He has one game with that many home runs in it. That was pretty cool.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
All right, so we need to be concerned about the Braves. I mean, they lost 5 of 6 on the West Coast road trip, and then they come back and beat Boston last night 4-2 down at Truist Park. I think finally Ozuna was got a hit, but he's been carrying the team. Without them, where would he be? Where would they be? I mean, Acuna and
Acuna,
yeah, him and
Riley,
and who else?
Olsen
all got hits last night, which is the first time in a long time.
And they've been bad for a while. And, I complain all the time about our starting pitching, but our hitting's okay. But, when you look at what happened on the left coast, losing 5 out of 6 last week, a lot of it was due to our hitting. We just didn't hit very well. Our pitching wasn't horrible, just weren't hitting.
Yeah, that night A.J. Minter lost 2-1. When they lost 2-1, we had 3 hits and 1 run. You're not going to win many ball games like that.
Nope. I don't care what level you're at.
No, at any level, you need more than a run to win a ball game. Usually, of course, there are the days of Maddox when, what do they call a Maddox game? 100 pitches, less than 100 pitches in a shutout.
A complete game.
Yeah, you know how many he had?
World record 13.
11. That's what it said on the website.
I think they were wrong.
Okay. Hey, I trust you over anything I read, I guarantee you. And Max Fried now has 3, but are we going to see numbers like that again from anybody else? They don't let people pitch that long.
No, we will not. And, it's kind of like the comment I made a few months ago about John Smoltz. There could never be another John Smoltz because John Smoltz in 1991 was like 2-11 at the All-Star break. You're fired if you keep putting the guy out there as a starting pitcher. Bobby Cox had a little leeway. He did it, and it all worked out. But, yeah.
Well, you know what I did over the weekend for the first time in my life? I watched Ohtani play. That was really the first time I watched him play. That's a smooth dude.
He's a great player.
Yeah, he's got a swing. I mean, he's got a little speed.
He bet you were going to say that.
Ohtani did? Yeah. Him or his manager?
Oh, yeah, whoever you want to believe. I'm not sure.
They took
what
a lot of money from Ohtani.
Took
Yeah.
$16 million out of his account.
It was a lot. You would have liked to had your hands on that, wouldn't you? To invest $16 million?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that's all right. So, yeah, Tyler's with Edward Jones. So any of you out there that need some money taken care of, this is your guy. We talked about the Phillies, but the hottest conference in all of baseball, hardest division, is the American League Central. Everybody over there is above 500 except for who? The worthless
Chi Sox.
Chi Sox. Yeah, they're on target to win 23 games, I think.
The Black Sox. Well,
Yeah.
they got 8 games right now, so I'm sure they're up to win a little bit more than that, but it ain't a whole heck of a lot. And, that's been the worst division in baseball for the last few years, so it's kind of interesting that as of right now, 4 of them are above 500, but we'll see what happens, by mid-August. I'm not sure Kansas City's going to still be above 500 or the Tigers or whoever else, but Indians have Guardians have looked really good.
Yeah, the Indian Guardians. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you? And I know this is getting way off topic. It's not even our agenda. But did you see that the Indians are suing the Redskins to change their name back to the Redskins? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's crazy.
It's some
Bring
of
back the classic name.
Absolutely. That's what
like
it
it.
ought to be. Yeah.
Did you ever hear the story about how the Cleveland Indians became the Cleveland Indians? Because they were like the Spiders. They were the Cleveland Spiders. And guess what they did? They hired the first Native American to ever play Major League Baseball. And he did so well that they ended up hiring 2 more. So they had 3 Native Americans on it. And somebody said, well, you should call them the Indians. And so they did. And so it wasn't one of those things where you're like, hey, let's name them after, they had the guys on their team. It's just so crazy how people get it twisted around and, we can't do this. Now, Redskins, that's a pretty derogatory term. I don't care where you want to come from.
No, because the people that are suing them said this is to honor this one guy.
Correct, but redskin is a derogatory term. No matter, I could start laying them out, but we'll probably get kicked off Facebook if I throw out the version of that for every other ethnicity going on the planet. But hey, Indians, Braves, Chiefs, Seminoles, these are not derogatory terms. They're just words. I don't know. That's my take.
Well, I appreciate your take. It's funny. That's the first time I think I've ever heard that story about the Cleveland Indians. So, out of all the stats that you've ever given me, all the facts and figures,
that's the one that meant the most.
That's the one that impressed me most. That's really cool.
Well, I don't know. I just get so wound up about all the name changing and everything else. But with the Redskins, I listened to a guy on the radio one time. He said, if you're ever not sure if it's a derogatory term, see if you can use it in a sentence where it sounds normal. That old Brave owes me $5. That chief used to run that old Redskins. and
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, as soon as he said it, he goes, see how that did not pass your ear test? There's a reason for that.
To get back to baseball, and I apologize for kicking this off topic there, the Twins just won 12 in a row. In that Central Division, and now they've lost 2 in a row. But 12-2 is a pretty good game if you get that the whole year.
Yeah, absolutely. But the schedules are so crazy that you really have to dive into a 162-game schedule to figure out why is this team winning and this team's not winning yet. And a lot of times, by the time some of these teams face the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Braves, the Dodgers, or whatever, their records might dwindle.
Yeah, and how much would you attribute all these things that are going on, the uplift of some teams and the downfall of other teams, to injuries? Does it seem like there's more now than there used to be?
Maybe with a little bit of pitching.
Yeah. I got an interesting stat, too, Robert, that I found out this weekend. In 2023, there were more Tommy John surgeries than there were in the entire decade of the 90s.
So, reason for that is pretty simple.
People trying to throw the ball too hard.
That's all it is. We're in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. There was a finesse. There was style points. You're trying to chew off a little piece of the corner. Now you're just trying to go 98 at the letters and just overpower people. And unfortunately for all of these pitchers, because the managers and the GMs have changed the way the game is played, and these guys don't throw 150 pitches on a semi-regular basis, now all of a sudden they're really never that warmed up. You can go down into the dugout and warm up with 8 pitches or 9 pitches. You're not ready to throw 100 miles an hour after eight warm-up toss. Yeah, I'm good. No, you're probably not.
No, you probably need to warm up a little bit more. So I thought that was interesting. And again, that was a Maddox thing. He was
His name keeps coming up. I wonder if that'll continue later.
He was such a technician when he pitched. He wasn't.
He was a professor.
Yeah, he wasn't an overrated. No, that was Pete Van Wieren.
He was the professor of the booth.
I don't know if you saw this on Facebook, but a friend of mine posted he used to fall asleep to Skip Carey calling the baseball games back in the 60s and 70s. I said, no. Skip Carey didn't start with the Braves till '76. It was Ernie Johnson and Milo Hamilton in the '60s and early '70s. So you might have fallen asleep, but it wasn't to Skip. Skip wouldn't let anybody fall asleep.
Maybe it was Rip Van Winkle, and he slept for a long time, and then he woke up, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It happened that way.
But again, we're about 1/5 of the way through baseball season, maybe a little over that. Braves are still playing good. They're 9 games over 500. I think they got the 4th best record now in the league.
But you were talking about how it was Ohtani, your first time to get to watch Ohtani, and once again, it's early in the season, and I'm sure he's going to find something new to gamble on with his next interpreter. But if you look at his numbers right now, #1 average in all of baseball, more home runs than anybody in baseball, more hits than anybody in baseball, #2 in on-base percentage, #1 in slugging. I mean, the guy is incredible. Guy is freaking incredible.
He is the best right now. Right?
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And, it's funny because I heard something that Ozuna is the only one hitting over 300 for the Braves. He's like at 304, 305. But Bohm, third baseman of the Phillies, he's the only one over 300 for the Phillies. But he's hitting like 346.
Right, 349 right now.
Yeah.
It's early. Remember last year you had Luis Ariz for the Marlins, who actually just got traded
To the
this week
Padres.
to the Padres, and I think he went like 4 or 5 for 6 in his opening game. But you remember he had that 400, and you just watch that thing lower each week because it's so hard to maintain. So some of the people who are batting 290 right now will get, the Freemans of the world. I think Freeman's probably batting 290 or something. Freeman's still going to bat 327 this year. It's a fact. You can put it in.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Baum will probably lower his a little bit.
Yeah, he'll probably come down for 346. And some of the other Phillies will go up. But it'll be interesting to see where it all winds out. Like I said, the Braves are 2.5 games out tonight as they host Boston tonight at 7:10. And
Smack those Red Sox around. Smack him back to Pawtucket.
to park their car in the yard.
Park the car in the yard. I'm from Southie.
All right, let's get
Where's
on to
Ben Affleck?
Let's get on to our next commercial with American Axes.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Axes has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, bachelor or bachelorette party, or somewhere new to take those out-of-town guests, American Axes in their 3 locations in Marietta, Tucker, and now in downtown at the Works are set up for you. Each and every location is conveniently and not coincidentally located next to a brewery. Look us up at American Axes or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And we thank you, Dan Fisher, for being a sponsor of the 3 Guys Who Love Sports. And again, Chuck Burge, along with Robert Kinney, and our good friend Tyler Sasan. So very happy to have Tyler with us for the first time today. I'm sure he'll be back. But we're now going to continue with some NBA talk. Is that what's next? It is. So who's the new NBA? Who's the new face of the NBA? Steph's going to be gone soon.
You know, the
LeBron's
basic
gonna
answer
be
is going
gone.
to be Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
But,
That's a good basic answer.
he's got a lot of good qualities about him.
Other
Man,
than he
he's-
went to Georgia.
Lord, here he comes.
He's long defensively. He's about, 6'5", 6'6" in height.
Yeah, about my height.
Yeah, he can move great, but I don't know. He's just electric to watch. He can
is
defend
fun.
with the best
You know
of
who
them.
I thought was going to be the face of the NBA going forward was Ja Morant.
Yeah.
But he messed up so
Yeah.
bad. I mean,
It's
you
an
can't-
image thing.
Yeah, you can't
know?
carry guns around. You got to be all American. Well, you don't have to be all American because LeBron's no angel. But you got to keep your nose clean.
They have Edwards listed at 6'4", 225.
Yeah, that's a big boy. So he can, and the thing with Edwards is I'm sure he appreciates the Michael Jordan comparisons, but we got to stop that. He's 22 years old. Let him play without the
I
pressure
agree.
like that. And he's going to rise to the top. Like what we've seen so far from him being so young and so well, and he's going to be just fine.
Well, how about Luka? Does he have a chance to be that guy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people, but Luka has one thing going against him. I'm not from your country.
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, the guy from Sheboygan or the guy from Des Moines, he's not going to gravitate that quickly in that direction.
So same thing with Jokic, right?
Absolutely. Not to mention that a lot of Denver's really outside of Elway. There's never been anybody that America has loved that has been an athlete from Denver.
How about Peyton Manning?
We didn't fall in love with him. We fell in love with Indianapolis Peyton.
Yeah,
And then-
exactly.
and then he
That was
ended-
just the
Hey,
end.
did anybody ask you?
He ended his career there. That was just one of those
He won a
things.
Super Bowl there, though.
With the worst stats he had his entire career, and he had nothing to do with that. He was
Had
the
nothing to do with it.
He was the reason why the Broncos were at the Super Bowl the year before and lost. But by the next year when he won, he was a shell of himself and was basically, we talk about it all the time. What do we call it? A facilitator.
He had the defense carrying him that year
absolutely.
big time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he couldn't get the height on the ball, couldn't get the speed on it. Still had good receivers around him to make him look great, but it was the big time the defense.
So how about Jason Tatum? Does he have a chance to be that guy?
Yeah, because he might be holding up a trophy, and the NBA loves people holding up trophies. When you're looking for somebody to nominate,
Be the face of the league.
Absolutely. but somebody like you mentioned Morant, that kid's career, but they will also do everything they can to make sure he is not the face of the league, because if he was to become the face of the league, it gives all of the haters in the world more reason to go, and look how dumb you are for making that your spokesperson.
To be the face of the league, you got to be electric.
Absolutely.
We saw Curry. He was so popular for so
doing
many
things
years.
nobody was doing.
Yeah, MJ back in the day, electric. Anthony Edwards has that ability. Luka and Jokic, they can throw their weight around with anyone in the league. They're big boys.
Oh, absolutely.
6'8" and up, 230 in weight. But
Luka's the only thing that might keep Luka from running everything is that weight.
Yeah.
Boy, is that guy.
When he's healthy.
Well, but when you're that big, I was talking earlier about me and my knees, and can you remember back when you had a left knee and a right knee instead of a good knee and a bad knee? But when you're that big and you have that much weight, and then you just keep adding weight to it, it's going to be tough for him to have longevity at this level.
It's going to catch up with you.
Oh, absolutely, it's going to catch up with anybody, let alone if you're a player on a hardwood floor every night.
And just seeing him start in 2018, he's much thinner. He was a lot faster, but now it's like he's got the weight and he can get to his spot.
He can get anywhere he wants to.
He can get anywhere at his own pace too.
He does.
Which makes him so good and tough to defend.
No, you're right. You're absolutely
right. We'll see
right.
if they figure him out.
You look at him and you're like, okay, what can he do? And he does a head bob, and then he goes underneath, and like you said, he always finds his shot. But it scares me if he keeps growing, that sooner or later will go away.
So Wembanyama is in the same deal as Jokic and Doncic.
Could be. He's unbelievable, but they're going to have to be decent. Spurs are going to have to turn the corner. Once again, faces of the NBA will never be lottery picks. Your team can't be drafting lottery picks over and over and over
again.
What do you think of Trae Young in San Antonio? I've been hearing a lot of that.
Oh, Lordy. I don't know. It scares me because I'm a Hawks fan, and I understand why people don't like Trae or are tired of Trae. But Trae is the only Hawks fan that I've watched in the last 40 years.
Hawks fan or Hawks player?
What's that?
Hawks fan or Hawks player?
Maybe all the above. I meant fan, but maybe it's both. He's the only person who I've seen send Celtics fans and Sixer fans and Bulls fans and all these other people home crying because Dominique did not go win series in Philadelphia and Boston, which Trae's already managed. But obviously we're having a disconnect of building something around him, and the only thing that makes me hopeful that he's not going anywhere is because the NBA is set up to where they can pay you so much extra. There's
no salary cap per se.
No, there is a salary cap, but it's stacked. So the Hawks can offer him $180 million. All the other teams can only offer him $130. Mm-hmm. So if you want to leave, it's going to cost you $50 million, and that's why most people don't leave. So
they've got $23 million they got to spend by July 8th because of what they did with John Collins, from what I heard today.
Draft him, keep him, re-sign him. Yeah. No.
But it can't be on Trae, so maybe they can bring somebody else to help him. I heard a stat today about Trae Young, and he didn't play enough games to qualify for the league leaders, but he's a top 15 scorer, and would have led the NBA in assists if he had enough games played.
No, absolutely. A lot of people, Trae's always been considered a flopper. And to people who do not follow the NBA, he's always had a knock for that. And then when they stopped letting you call the flop a couple of years ago, his game suffered a little bit. And I think he's fine and everything, but I don't know. We need more.
We'll see.
We do need more. So you think Anthony? Somebody that if he keeps playing as well as he has in this playoffs is Donovan Mitchell?
Yep.
With Cleveland. Boy, one game last week against Orlando that I watched, he was the only one that scored in the fourth
50
quarter.
points.
He was the only one that scored in the fourth quarter.
And they still lost.
Yeah.
But I've never seen
a game where one guy was the only one that scored in a quarter for one team. I never saw anything written about
crazy.
it, but that is nuts, isn't it?
It is, and he's been around. He's been around for a little while now, and clearly his best year yet. We'll see. I just don't know.
But he wouldn't be a bad face. Seems like a good All-American guy. But he's got to play more. He's got to continue more.
He's got to elevate his team.
All right. So that being said, him scoring the 50, I think he scored 89 points back-to-back nights.
Yeah.
Is he the MVP of the playoffs so far?
Nope.
And who would that be?
I'm going to let you guys answer, and then
I'd have to
I'll
say
tell you.
Brunson with that
Dang
one.
it!
That's who I would say.
Dang it!
So that's you?
Yep. Yeah, he had 4 straight games of 40 points.
He belongs in New York.
He does. If you can dominate like that at Madison Square Garden, as Mr. Sinatra said, you can do it anywhere, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he had
he's been great.
39, 42, 40, and 41. 39, 47, 40, and 41.
First player,
4 games in a row.
4 straight 40-point, 5 assist games
Yeah.
in the playoffs, which is unbelievable.
And, and not Edwards. Was it Edwards that had 2 40-point games? Yeah, and there was only one other person that's ever done that in their first 2 playoff games, and it wasn't LeBron and it wasn't Michael. I don't remember who it was, but it was pretty good company.
Right. The other thing about Donovan Mitchell, going back to him being he comes from Utah. He played 4 or 5 years in Utah, and now he's in Cleveland. Sorry, nobody from yes, you had LeBron. We could make him the face. He's not on the verge of becoming LeBron, and so he couldn't be the face of the thing. The whole league coming from there.
So
I don't think
Jokic is averaging 29-6 in the playoffs.
he's a beast.
He would be a beast, but man, Denver's looked horrible in these 2 games against Minnesota.
Minnesota's that good.
Murray's hurt, I guess.
I think Minnesota's figured out Denver a little bit just because the Nuggets' offense so heavily relies on him or Murray getting going. And when they're running the offense through Jokic and they're guarding him face up without a double team, it's going to make it a lot difficult.
And Towns is one of the few people who you can go try to handle him on
Nas
your
Reed.
own. Well,
And who was it? Gobert that didn't even play.
Yeah.
Gobert's the 4th, just won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year. There's only 3 people who have ever won that many.
They still looked like the best defense without him the other night.
They did. I mean, that's who they counted on to stop Jokic. Yeah.
Ben Wallace, you remember Ben Wallace,
Yeah.
Mr. Rebound out of Detroit, and Dikembe Mutombo, the only 2 other players to ever win Defensive Player of the Year 4 times.
That should absolutely put him in the Hall of Fame. I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, you can think about his offensive ability. It's not always there, but winning 4 of those,
it's pretty impressive.
It is.
That's very impressive.
Especially when it's only one. We only give this out to one person.
Right.
You're
Exactly.
the best.
It's not like you're on the NBA defensive all-star team.
Correct.
You're the guy.
Yeah, you're not first team or second team, one of the top 5, one of the top 10. No, you're the guy.
So we all think Brunson's probably the one, but Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, they call him now, and I'd never heard of him before a week ago.
But
as soon as I heard he was from Georgia, I didn't care anymore, but I did watch him play.
But going back to my comment about Utah and Cleveland, if you're looking for a face of the world, probably not going to be a guy from Minnesota either.
Right.
So
tough market.
Brunson, boy, does that make the NBA executives happy? It's like, wow, the Knicks could be good. This could be everything we ever wanted. Especially if Bron goes to L.A.
Oh gosh, yeah, I don't know. I'm still interested to see what's going to happen in L.A. if LeBron's going to stay or whatever. It's a messed up league the NBA is. All right, let's move on to our next commercial, and we'll get the Brain Train people on board.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
And we are back. Thank you, Megan and Melissa, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports here on Wednesdays at Miller's Ale House, every Wednesday at 5. So tickled to be here. And we're going to move on to our next subject, which is the greatest athletes. So we have been through 0 through 30, and we've named some pretty good athletes. But we're moving on today to the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 31.
Trey Uno. I know that's not how you say it, but
No, Trey Young.
yeah, Trey Uno.
Oh, no, yeah. Siete or something like that, yeah. 31 in French. So I listed some of the greater players, I thought, from 31. We have Mike Piazza.
Pizza.
With the Dodgers. We have...
And the Mets.
The Mets, yep. Donnie Shell was a mainstay with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable defense.
Jamal Lewis, pretty good running back from Baltimore. We have Reggie Miller, Cheryl's big brother.
Cheryl's little brother.
Cheryl's little brother, that's right, yeah. With the Pacers. We have Mad Dog Maddox with the Braves and the Ferguson Jenkins with the
Fergie.
Chicago Cubs.
Fergie was incredible. I just want to touch base on pizza because I'm not a pizza man. He played for the Dodgers and the Mets, two of the teams I hate the most. But to give the guy his due, do you know why he was drafted? Have you ever heard the story about him getting drafted?
Is this going to replace the Cleveland Indians story as my favorite draft story?
It probably will be.
Okay.
There's a decent chance.
Go for it.
Turns out Piazza's dad is best friends with Tommy Lasorda.
I do remember hearing this.
And the draft goes all the way into the 62nd round. There's only 1,395 picks in the 1988 draft. Piazza was taken 5 before the end. He was the 1,390th pick, and the only reason why Tommy Lasorda made the pick was because he was friends with the guy's dad and was trying to do him a solid because he thought it would look great on his resume, whatever he decided to do in his life. Oh, by the way, yeah, I got drafted by the Dodgers, one thing. How incredible is it to make a career when nobody in the world thought you had any of the, because a catcher's a tough position.
Oh, absolutely.
And when I say a tough position, it's a tough position for a GM to fill. So here's a guy who ends up being a Hall of Famer. And, all the other teams passed on him 62 times that draft.
Being able to hit the way you did, too, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
So what cracked me up is he should have been Mr. Really Irrelevant. He's that late in
You're
the draft.
absolutely
record.
correct. But then in addition to that, you got to go back to that game after 9/11 where he hits the home run and
Everybody goes crazy.
Everybody goes crazy. It's what needed to happen. If anybody ever told me it's all fake and pointed at that, I just look at him and go, I can't argue that because that was just too perfect to not be rigged, fake, or anything else. And so, hats off to Pizza Man, even though I hate you.
Even though you hate him.
Even though I hate him.
Like I said, Donnie Shell was on the team where Pittsburgh won 3 or 4
Steel curtain.
Super Bowls.
Absolutely.
Number 31, obviously. Played great defense. That was a great defensive team. Did he play with Franco? I think he did, didn't he? Yeah.
He was safety.
Yeah. Yeah. So, loved the Steelers back then. Jamal Lewis, running back with the Ravens.
He's a beast.
He was a beast.
He was a beast.
Now, he's a Tennessee. Went to Tennessee, didn't he? Isn't that where he went
Correct.
to college? Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't play a real long time, I don't think.
He did not.
Yeah, but still made a big impact on the league.
He did.
Yep. As we mentioned, Ferguson Jenkins, Chicago Cubs, was in the day with Gibson and all those guys.
Fergie was incredible.
Big boy.
Big, huge boy.
Yeah.
Where's he from?
I don't know. Atlanta, ain't he?
I want to say he was from Canada.
Oh, really?
I didn't look it up.
No, I think he's. Is he from here? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm Googling while we do it.
We're Googling to see where Ferguson Jenkins was from. And then, of course, Reggie Miller was a great basketball player. I enjoyed him watching. My favorite Reggie Miller moment now is the commercial he does on State Farm. Have you seen that?
Chatham.
Yeah.
Chatham, Ontario.
Chatham, Ontario. So you're right. He was from Canada.
But, there's a very short list of greatest baseball players from Canada, and he's, he's way up there. Way up there.
He is way up there.
Did we mention everybody? I think everybody didn't mention. Oh, wait, maybe not.
Uh-oh. You got a Jack Abbott you're pulling out
Oh,
of your ass?
no. I'm just talking about somebody who we still haven't talked about so much.
31?
31.
Oh, Mr. Maddox?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
I did see something funny. Again, I want to get off script. Who did Pete Rose get his 4,000th hit with? Do you know?
What team did he play for?
Yeah. I don't think I ever knew this. If I did, I totally forgot it.
He wasn't a Philly?
Saw a clip of it. No. You have any idea?
No.
The Montreal Expos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a little clip of that on YouTube the other night. I said, I didn't even know he played for the Expos.
Right.
But that's where he got his 4,000th hit. Little single, little right. It was crazy. All right, yeah. So, a lot of good things about Maddox. We talked about Maddox earlier in the show for other things, but he did have 11 shutout games, pitching less than. I'm sure he pitched more complete games than 11. But Robert looks like he's pulling up his stats now.
I've got a few of them already saved over here.
I figured you did.
Did he have 4 straight Cy Young?
4 straight Cy Youngs.
Incredible.
And, the thing about Maddox is when you look at, who Maddox is, he's 6 foot. Probably not. He weighs 170 if he's soaking wet. So, the reason why you should get your kid involved in pitching baseball is because if you are not the top of the, what do we want to call that? The
Food chain?
The food chain, or, depending on your DNA setup between you and your mate. Here's a guy who dominated his sport, and he looks like a tax attorney. He's incredible. He's incredible. What he was able to do. I pulled up a couple things. My favorite Maddox moment is the 77 pitch complete game in Chicago. 77, but his idea was on those, and the reason why Maddox doesn't have so many shutouts, a lot of the Maddox stat is for a complete game that he wins with under 100 pitches. The problem with shutouts is that shutout pitchers are hard throwers and are trying to get you to strike out. He wasn't. He always felt like if he got you in an 0-2 count, why would I throw a ball? I'm going to throw another one right there on the edge and let you roll it out to the shortstop and get an out.
He had you off balance more than anything else.
He always had you off balance, but he was never willing to waste a pitch the way Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan gets you 0-2. He's going to climb the ladder to see if you're going to swing one. Not Maddox's thing. So he was just incredible. And kind of going back to my thing about John Smoltz and how John Smoltz could have never existed in this current rendition of the league. Maddox in 86 was 2-4 with a 5.52 ERA. His second year, he was 6-14 with a 5.61. There's just you're not getting that many more opportunities in today's game. They'll bring up somebody from Double-A and replace you. So, the idea that he came out of that 6-14 and then went 18-8, 19-12, 15-15, and then 20-11, 20-10, 16-6, 19-2. Just mind-boggling. How good.
He was.
How good.
He had some pretty good pitchers around him, too, like Smoltz and Steve Avery and all those.
Glavine.
And Glavine.
Absolutely.
Maybe one of the best pitching staffs ever. Starting rotation, anyway.
And I will say this, as far as that thought process goes, one of the things that made that great Brave staff so good is they always talk about if you got a knuckleballer, you want him going the day after your hardest pitcher. Because then the guys who are looking at 100 miles an hour, the next day they have to see this 72 mile an hour thing.
The wiffle ball coming out of
with Smoltz being a hard thrower, Glavine being a lefty, and then Maddox doing this as a righty, it was always throwing hitters off, and that played obviously well for the Braves.
It's hard to believe they didn't win more World Series with that pitching staff.
Lonnie Smith, Chipper Jones. It's just two of my culprits why we didn't win in 91 or 96. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember '91. That was the Twins, right?
Oh, yeah. Lonnie Smith got deked by Knobloch out at second base. Still the most painful play I've ever watched. I can remember jumping up and down and go, he doesn't have the ball. But Knobloch, here's Knobloch running up like he's got the ball, and Lonnie just threw on the brakes. Had Lonnie never stopped running, we win that game. I mean, it's over.
Yeah. So we know you're not a huge baseball fan. Do you have a different favorite 31?
There's not many that I can think of.
Yeah.
No, Reggie probably takes the bait. No, yeah. I'd go with Reggie.
Reggie
He's
Miller?
just electric. He gives you those memories that you can think about him in the Garden against the Knicks especially.
Spike Lee looking over at
The
Spike.
chokes,
And,
Yeah, no.
Those were awesome moments.
Reggie had some charisma. There's no doubt about that.
Jamal was great though on Madden. You ever play with him on Madden games? Oh man, he's a beast.
Did you play Madden?
Could not stop him.
I used to be like the king of Madden.
Oh, were you?
But I was always the king at your house, and your house. And I always said, I'm never going to buy a system because if I do, I'm never going to leave my house. But I haven't played in years and years and years.
Yeah, that's not something I never got into. I don't think. One of my sons might have. I don't remember, but no. Well, I'm probably going to have to go with Maddox as much as I hate just being a homer. But
It's not a homer if you're right, baby.
Yeah.
And I love me some Reggie Miller. I actually hate Reggie Miller, but I love the thorn he was able to put in the Knicks side, and I love those stories about him trying to shoot ball.
I got a good one.
In the driveway with his sister Cheryl.
I got a good one.
go, Tyler.
Jason Terry. The Mavs.
No. Former Atlanta Hawk. No.
JT.
That's
yeah.
right. I loved some Jet.
Yeah.
Jason Terry was a ball player, and he looked so much better once he left us. Once he went to Dallas.
Top 10 in threes made all time. Pretty sure.
He's up there. Yeah. He's up there.
Yep.
I'm still giving him the no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to give all of them. I'd take Miller probably as number 2, but I'd have to give the nod to Maddox.
Yeah, I'd probably say Maddox, Miller, Pizza.
Pizza? Yeah. Well, next week is going to be a very interesting show.
Oh.
When we're looking at number 32, because there are some studs out there at 32.
Boy,
I doubt that we're going to agree next week.
Well, but what's beautiful is there's certain numbers, and I have not looked up 32 yet. Not that I can't probably rattle a few off, but when we first started doing these numbers, I was so excited about 7 and 14 because those were quarterback numbers when I was a kid. But when it comes to 32 and 34, man, these are the greatest running backs. These are the greatest running backs the league has ever known, has ever seen, and it's going to be fun next week with Brandon Wood.
It will be. It will be. All right, let's get on with our last commercial, and we'll do the Kennesaw Express Lube when Robert gets his little script up there.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products.
And we thank you, Brian Bristow, for being a sponsor of the Owls. The Owls Who Live Sports and the 3 Guys Who Love Sports.
Somebody's getting fruity up here.
Is there a run on lemonade or something up there, Sean? What's going on?
Tito's Strawberry Lemonade.
Ah, cool. It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't look bad to me.
All right. So something we haven't talked about in a long time, probably since January, is college football. We've talked a lot of pro football, but it's time to start digging back into the college football. Draft's over. We know where everybody's going now, but what's next on the horizon for college football? Obviously, the 2 big conferences now are going to be the Big Ten and the SEC. Texas and Oklahoma make the switch to SEC, and we have Oregon, we have Washington, we have Southern Cal, we have UCLA moving over to. There's more than that.
No, that's exactly it.
Is that
Big
it?
10.
Yep.
Moving to the Big Ten.
Yep.
So there's Big 14 or whatever it is now. So it's
Big 27.
Yeah.
I think they're actually 16.
Yes,
right?
sir.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Robert's
7,
showing
8,
off
9,
now.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
18 teams.
18 teams in the Big Ten.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, if we're going to keep going this way, can we change the names of some of these conferences? The Big
To the
Ten
Big-
is not, you're
Big-
not allowed to be
is
the
now
Big
the Big
12.
20,
You're not allowed to be the
12
Big
is getting
10.
decimated. The Pac-12, they're done for.
You mean the
Well,
Pac-2?
The
Yeah,
Pac-2
two now.
Those two.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, everybody wants to talk SEC football, and we'll save that one for last. But, what's going to happen up in the Big Ten?
I tell you, there's some tough schedules. I got the whole Big Ten
You have
network.
the whole matrix up there.
Yeah, the whole
Robert.
matrix pulled up, and when you start looking at some of these matchups, so Michigan this year gets South Carolina, or I'm sorry, USC, Washington, and Oregon. So they get all three of the big newcomers along with Ohio State. That ain't easy.
No.
Ohio State, on the other hand, plays Oregon.
That's it.
Well, they have to
And-
play in Michigan.
In Michigan, but they don't have it's when you look at their schedule.
Washington?
Michigan State, Iowa, Oregon, Nebraska, Penn State, Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, and Michigan. So if Ohio State is not your front runner, you just haven't looked at the schedule yet, because man, do they have a much easier path than most.
I can only say this: I mustn't have looked at the schedule very closely, because I don't have them as my front runner.
Yeah, but I mean, their schedule's just so nice to them.
Yeah,
So nice.
it is. But we'll talk about all the teams. Rutgers. We don't say much about Rutgers, other than Rutgers is coming to Kennesaw State next fall in basketball. So that's pretty cool. We'll have a big team coming here to KSU.
The Scarlet Knights.
The Scarlet Knights. Is Shiano the football coach up there now, right? Because he was at
Wasn't and
It is.
became again.
Yeah, he went to Tampa Bay and failed miserably, and then he went back to Scarlets. So, so very happy about that. Penn State, they've got Drew Allers coming back, right? So, are they ever going to make the next step? It's been a long time since they've been in the national team. Of course, we got 12 teams that are going to make the playoffs this year.
But
So, how many do we have from the Big Ten?
Well, last year you would have had under the 12 teams scenario, the SEC had 5, the Big 10 or the Big 18, if you choose to be correct, had 5 as well. So I would think you're probably getting 4 of these teams at least.
Yeah.
Out of each conference, I would say a minimum of 4 and 4.
Yeah, that's probably a good estimate of that. But who are the best?
Penn State has been third fiddle in that conference
For a
forever.
long time, yeah.
And now the talent level just went up in the conference. And so I start looking at it, and I don't think any of those teams that have come east take out Michigan and Ohio State as the top 2. They could on any given year. Oregon could, USC could. Obviously they have some teams, but Penn State, where do they fall from third, or are they going to try to maintain their status quo? Their schedule's rather easy: Illinois, UCLA, USC, and then Wisconsin, Ohio State, Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland.
Well, every year we think Wisconsin's going to do something. I do, because they've got such great running backs there, and then they just fall flat on their face. They can't do anything when it comes to the season. So I'm not taking them.
But they do have a very good schedule.
Oh, yeah. Wisconsin does?
Yeah.
So in my 5th position, I have Penn State, I think. Let me look at my thing.
I've got Penn State.
Yep.
Top 5 at least. But
That's where I have them. I have
Actually,
them
I
in
have
5.
Southern Cal at number 5.
I have them
Penn
in
State
5.
at 4.
I have Southern Cal at 4, so
Well,
I
just
could flip
flip-flop.
those either way
Yeah.
you wanted to.
Yeah, Southern Cal, they changed their whole defensive team, coaching staff, so they got to play better defense than what they did last year. They cannot play any worse than they did last year on the defensive side of the ball.
Southern Cal has a very favorable schedule: Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA. So there's no
there's no real challengers there.
They're not. So I mean, if they show up, if they recruit as well as we expect them to, they could do well.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
But
So
that's what happens when you have an 18-team schedule.
you can't play all the monsters.
Can't play them all.
Yeah.
Can't play them all.
Yeah. At number 3, I have Michigan. I know they lost a lot of people. They lost McCarthy. They lost a lot of good players, but
Their
they
cheating
just,
coach. They lost the cheating coach, too.
Yeah, they lost their coach, but they just reload. And Moore, the coach there, he's got experience. It's not like they're getting a new coach because he coached all 6 games that they won last year when Harbaugh was being punished. So I think Michigan's going to be okay. I mean, they got a huge offensive front, and they draft some big, recruit some big old boys up there in Michigan.
They do.
So I'd have to give my 3rd place to Michigan.
What do you think?
3rd place, I've got Oregon in there, just because I think they have a standard. I don't have USC in my top 5 though. But
So who are your 5-4?
Washington and then Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You can look at all of these schedules, and because there's so many teams, there's holes in it. You go, well, they have to play this team, but they don't have to play this team or this team or this team. I like Oregon as my 3. It's probably closer to being Michigan because Michigan does have to play Washington, Oregon, Ohio State, and Southern Cal.
But Washington lost everybody. They lost their coach, and they lost all their players.
And I'm not trying to put Washington up to top 10 status. I'm just saying they're probably going to be tougher than Minnesota.
Yeah,
or
probably
Nebraska, or
Yeah.
Iowa, all these other teams that you've been playing for a few years.
Well,
So-
Iowa was in the Big Ten championship game last year.
Right, because they have the best punter in the world, and their defense
They did,
doesn't
their
give up
defense, yeah.
anything. So
That's pretty crazy. All right, so who do we have at 2 and 1?
I'd say Oregon at 2.
You have Oregon at 2?
Yeah, I'd put Michigan at 3, Oregon at 2. Oregon doesn't have a bad schedule. They play Ohio State and they play Michigan, but the other 2 big games for them is UCLA. They're used to them, and Washington to end the season. So in a landscape that I don't believe 2 losses does any harm to you, I think they could roll pretty easily to a 2-loss schedule.
Okay. I have Ohio State at 2. I just don't see them getting past this Michigan that they've had the last 2 or 3 years. I just don't see them getting back. They got a new quarterback. McCord went on to Syracuse. Will be throwing for the Orange this year. And they got a couple of guys that transferred in. I can't remember their names. I had them written down. I can't find them. But I just can't put my trust in Ohio State as long as Ryan Day's calling the shots there. How about you, Tyler?
I've got Ohio State at 1, Michigan at 2,
Michigan
and
at
then
2.
the Ducks at 3.
Yeah.
I think that's the order that makes the most sense to me, just because Ohio State's got their
And I guess
cakewalk of a
you
schedule
have
to
Ohio
start.
State at 1, Robert.
I do. Once again, it's Michigan State, Iowa to start the year. I'm gonna go ahead and pencil them in at 2-0. Then they have Oregon. Okay, I'll give you that. Then they go Nebraska, Penn State, Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana.
Didn't Oregon come to Ohio State a couple of years ago and beat them?
Absolutely,
First game of the season.
that was a great
that
home
was
and
the
away.
playoff
Yeah.
game, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
No,
this is
Oh,
really
I'm thinking
season.
more recently.
No, it was a
It was
home
the
and
first
away.
game of a season, I think.
Correct, and then the next year they went out there.
Yeah.
So Oregon won in Columbus, and I believe Columbus won in Eugene.
Yeah.
But
That's right.
it's just like I said, that whole middle of the schedule just seems like it's ready for Pac-Man to just eat up some teams.
Well, I actually have Oregon in the number 1 slot. I think they're going to do the same thing with Galen. What's his name? Gabriel. That they did with Bo Nix. He's going to go out there, Dylan Gabriel, and he's going to sling it around like Bo Nix is. And they got a lot of talent out there. And I'm very impressed with Coach Dan Lanning. That whatever he's been given, he's working it. So I'm going to go with Oregon. Robert, you're going with Ohio State.
I'm going with Ohio
You-
State.
and you got Ohio State as well? All right. So you know what? The good thing is it's not that long until football starts. That just tickles me to death. All right, let's move on down to the SEC. We've still got 6 minutes to
Yeah,
talk
at
SEC
least 6
football.
minutes.
So my number 5 team in the SEC is Missouri. Missouri played a pretty good ball. They got a good Luther. What's his name? The running wide receiver. I got to put on my eyes so I can see. Luther Burden, yeah. Missouri almost beat Georgia last year, right? They played them
Missouri's
really well.
always given Georgia trouble.
Yeah,
ever since they
giving
joined
them a
the
hard
conference.
time. Yep. So I'm going to put Missouri at the 5 spot. Tyler, how about you?
LSU, they always have a good program every year. They did lose a lot of players in the draft, a lot of their good guys, but
Yeah, I had them at 6.
they always put up pretty well.
They lost a lot of players, and
Yeah.
they got to replace a lot of defensive players. Good quarterback, but yeah, I had them at 6.
Both their receivers too.
Yeah, I was torn between them and Missouri at 5. Robert,
I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the way. Bama.
I like it.
Bama's dropping to 5th. There's a lot of question marks, and the scrutiny that team is going to be under.
a microscope.
You can't imagine unless you're from a little town in Alabama, because once again they don't talk about anything else.
A lot of pressure.
Outside of Talladega twice a year, they don't talk about nothing else.
They don't have anything else out there.
That is absolutely correct. You can't watch the NBA and forget about it, or the NFL, or
I love
baseball,
the
or anything
beach.
else. So, yeah, it's they have a lot of talent there. I know a lot of talent left, but they still have tons of talent there. I think they'll be good. I'm not predicting, a 7-5 season for them or anything, but they're
Playoffs?
gonna.
They still got good
Playoffs.
scouting. They have great scouting
Yeah.
still.
They got Wisconsin Wisconsin, Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, Oklahoma, and Auburn. That's fairly formidable.
Yeah.
Everything I didn't mention is a lock win.
All right, we'll start with you on 4, Robert.
I would say for my 4, I'm gonna go Texas.
Wow.
That surprised me.
Yeah.
I'm full of surprises. I hate their schedule. I think they've got the toughest schedule in the conference, but I think they have a good team. So
Got the best quarterback room in the country, probably, between Ewers and Arch Manning. Manning threw for like 4 touchdown passes in the spring game.
well, their first 5 games, Colorado State, UTSA, UL Monroe, and Mississippi State. The only other one that's in between there is Michigan.
So that holds hope for Kennesaw, because we call UTSA first, then they go and play Texas. So maybe they'll be looking ahead, and the Isles can slip in there and take a W.
Absolutely. But,
Yeah.
realistically, they're probably 4-1 after their first 5 games. And then Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas A&M. It's not super
And
easy.
Georgia's
It's
at
tough.
Austin. That's in Austin this year.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
How big going?
Yeah.
Good one.
All right. So at 4, I have Mississippi, Ole Miss. Jackson Dart's back. There's Hugh Freeze, not Hugh Freeze. What's the coach's name?
Kiffin.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin. Yeah, he's been playing pretty well down there. They got something going on. I got Kiffin and the Rebels at 4.
I got Bama at 4.
Wow. Okay.
I want to see him fall down.
Why is that? You just don't like Bama?
I'm just tired of him.
No. All right.
All the years doing so great, It's nice to see all the pressure and the cards come tumbling down a little bit.
All right. Number 3, I have got the Dogs. I just don't think this is the year for the Dogs. Look at Robert smiling. I know he's got them as one. And Tyler probably does too.
But they've lost 1 game in 3 years. You hate them. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Well, I did read something, or I saw something about Carson Beck, that Carson Beck's more concerned about the car he's driving and than he is the football team. So I think it's become a lot of a me attitude as opposed to being for the team. And
That can hurt you.
and it can hurt you. And Georgia's got a pretty tough little schedule.
They do.
They play
do.
at Alabama. They play at Texas.
They play with Clemson out of conference, so
Yeah.
I mean they've got a tough schedule. But I just want to throw one thing back at the Beck comment from the standpoint of I don't think there's a quarterback in America between the age of 19 and 21 who you could not say the exact same thing, especially when they're getting as much NIL money as they are. So I'm sure that problem is prevalent on all of these teams.
Well, I'm sure Davis Bryson, the kid at Kennesaw, is not getting a Maserati to drive around.
No, but every one of these SEC teams, just because we don't know who the quarterback at blank school is, doesn't mean he doesn't get the most NIL money on the team and isn't more worried about
All right.
that.
How about 3 for you?
3? Well, I got Ole Miss.
You got Ole Miss?
Ole Miss. Yep. They're good. I mean, Lane Kiffin's still there, right?
Oh, God, we got to hurry. We only got 1 minute. We can run a little over, can't we, Larry? Okay.
I'm going Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee doesn't have a horrible schedule. Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia. Those are their 3 tough games. Outside of that, there's not a lot of tough games there. So, I think they could do well.
Well, my top 2 are Alabama and Texas.
Go figure.
I got Texas, then Georgia.
Texas and Georgia. You got
Yeah.
Texas at number 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got them Bayou Tigers at number 2. They got a really good schedule, and they like to reload. And I think Brian Kelly has probably whispered in a lot of recruits' ears when Saban went away, and he's going to get a little bit. And surprise, surprise, I'm going to go with the best team that the SEC's had for a few years as their still current number 1.
I've got to tell you, we were at a lunch today at Ackworth Business Connections or whatever it's called, and the silly question of the week was, if you were king for the day, what's one wish you would make? And I said, well, in hopes of never hearing how about them dogs again, I'd wish for the city of Athens to be wiped off the face of the earth. That's how much I like the dogs.
I knew that.
I know you know that. Yeah, but
Typhoid Chuck over here is trying to throw a pandemic.
Yeah. So, man, I'm very excited about college football, and we'll see where we are in the fall. I mean, things will change between now and season, but
has the portal closed?
I don't think so.
We were talking about how the teams are all made up, and I'm thinking, I wonder if there's still a few people out there who could go to a few places. I don't know what day that changes.
And then you still got the walk-ons.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Piazzas, though, who are coming in that nobody knows about.
Or Brock Purdy's. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, man, great show. Time just flew by today, didn't it?
It's incredible what happens
Thanks
when you
for
start
having me,
talking
guys.
about
Oh, you
football.
bet, Tyler.
Absolutely, sir.
Good job, Robert. All right, guys. As always, know your numbers out there. Cover your ass. Get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week on the 3 Guys Who Love Sports.